All right, going to try to capture a live trade for you today, looking at SERA. This one is on this morning's watch list. The entry level is 247 with a max target of 3. So this could be a good one for a next day continuation move, but we have to have a couple things happen first. Since 247 is a resistance area, we have to kind of make sure that 247 is going to hold as support, meaning that the price is indeed wanting to break out of this area, because what we could see a lot of times is a false break where the price kind of looks like it wants to go, but in fact there's just still too many sellers selling long positions who may be entered in through here. Maybe they're using this little pop to sell and make profit, or maybe you have short sellers who see this as resistance and want to start shorting. All right, so we want to be careful and we want to make sure that this area is indeed holding as support and the price does want to continue upwards. And this is why all the entry methods are the way they are. They're all confirming that yes, indeed, price wants to break out and hold as support. All right, so we have to kind of wait for these specific patterns to form before it's kind of safe to take an entry. So what we're looking at here now is a possible entry method number 2 or number 3 pattern, because you have this long extension kind of leading into the entry level. All right, there's not really any consolidation that has happened. It's just a big upwards move, very fast. So we kind of want to wait for this to settle down. So this is probably going to be an entry method number 2 pattern, where you kind of get this uptrend that's a little too extended, but now we need to wait for that uptrend to break down. And then once it breaks down, that's when we can start seeing if this really truly wants to still go up. And the only way to see if that will happen is if the price can kind of reclaim this level and then make a move back up. So that kind of is what's happening on this one so far, but this actually could turn into an entry method number 3 pattern, because now the price is almost halfway to the max target area. So this is considered a strong breakout above 247, which is an entry method number 3 pattern. So it's a strong breakout, but we're looking for it to come back down to the entry level to test it as support. And then once it looks like it's holding by making some swing highs and swing lows, and then making a move to break up to the upside, taking out the previous swing highs that were made above the entry level, then that's when it's safe to go ahead and enter into a position. And that's kind of what we're looking at right here. So usually by the time it hits the high of day, this little pullback consolidation period is going to last around 15 minutes. It can last longer, it can last a little bit shorter, but usually maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes is what we see the most. So I kind of start that timer once the high of day is made, and it looks like the high of day is made already. So I like to just go ahead and put a line about 15 minutes from this high of day time, which is 10:28. So if I just add 15 minutes, that will be 10:43. So let me put a line here, and that just kind of helps me be a little bit more patient, because I can visually see kind of what I want it to do ahead of time. So I want it to come down here and basically make a small up move, a small down move, and then a break to the upside. All right, so that's kind of what I want to see, and this one's going to take maybe about 10 more minutes to develop. So I'm going to pause the video and come back once it looks like that I might get into a trade. All right, so we do have SERA now testing this area as support. So that's the first step. We want it to come back down and kind of touch it. Now the next step is to kind of see a swing high develop, and maybe for the price to break out over that area. So this is a swing high right here. So after this touch, I kind of start taking note of whatever the previous swing high is, and then kind of start developing a game plan. So let's say that the price, does something like that. That can still be a potential play. The high of this swing high is at 260, so if I were to play that, I would buy at 261. And I also want to always keep in mind of the max target area, because if I'm correct that $3 is going to be the maximum potential this stock could have, then I want to make sure that I can get a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio before it hits that area, because I don't really want to have my price target, way above the max potential, because odds are the price isn't going to go above that, which it can, but if we're speaking in terms of odds, we always want to put the odds in our favor. So we kind of always want to see the most likely max target and not a max target that has low odds of actually happening. So I'm using this risk management tool to kind of see my risk reward ratios. It's noted right here. So if I were to place a stop loss, let's just anticipate that it's going to do something like that. I would place my stop loss at the bottom of the most recent swing low, and that right now is at 252. So, well, actually it just dropped. So I just keep kind of moving my stop loss down, just anticipating a move to happen. So we kind of have a move back down this way, and this is kind of a swing high right here. So the high of that is 252, so I can maybe try to enter at 253 with a stop loss at 242, because the low of this is 243. So let's just kind of start anticipating that we could get a breakout here. I can go ahead and type in 454 as my shares. I want to get this over 252, so I would type in 253 here, and this is going to be a stop buy order. Okay, so all I have to do now is just send the order, and now I'm set to potentially buy this at 253. All right, but if the price ends up dropping here below this swing low, then I'm going to have to cancel the order and recalculate my shares, because then I won't be using 242 as a stop anymore. All right, so order is in. I'm just anticipating this to move. Since we know the pattern that we're looking for, we always kind of want to anticipate what will happen. So if we get this break of 253, then I'll enter into the position, and the target is going to be at a 1 to 2. So if I get filled here, then my target here will be 273. All right, so we're kind of coming up on this 15-minute timer, and all we're looking for is for the price to kind of start uptrending again. It's testing this area as support. So far it's holding. So kind of the third and final step is we have to show momentum to want to keep going. All right, and that's only going to come if the price kind of curls back the other way and starts taking out these swing highs. Now again, if it drops below this area, then I'm going to have to recalculate my shares. All right, so here I just got filled, and now all I do next is go ahead and kind of drag my stop and target orders in. So I placed the target there at 275, and I'll move this stop here at 242, and then all I have to do now is just sit and wait. It's just a patience game. I got my orders in, and if I get stopped out, hey, that's okay. If I get my target, then that would be good too. All right, so just still continuing to be patient. You cannot let little tiny short-term movement kind of scare you out of the position. You are going to see the price drop on the way to target. You are going to come across things that look like the price is struggling. The best advice I can just tell you is just ignore it, because you've designed a plan strategically in the first place. You want to stick to that plan, because if your plan has proven to give you profits, then there's really no reason to not stick to the plan. All right, so we just got a break of highs right there. We just hit a high of 273, and there's 275. So now we are all out. All right, so it's pretty simple when you kind of think about it. You're just waiting for these patterns to form, but the hard part is being patient enough to let that pattern develop. And then once you're in the trade, being patient enough to actually stick with it. All right. So I just wanted to show you this trade. It was an entry method number 3 pattern where we have a strong breakout, some sort of pattern where it kind of consolidates on the entry level, and then it makes a move up. So again, you have the strong breakout, it pulls back, kind of consolidates, and then we get a move up. And all I'm doing is just figuring out my entry and my stop, and then aiming for a target that is at least a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. Now, since I got in a little bit higher, I think I got in a few pennies higher, my risk reward wasn't quite a 1 to 2. You know, even though it's not exactly a 1 to 2, it's still a positive risk reward ratio, which is still fine. But there's more things that you can do to try to make more profit. As you can see, $3 is the max potential. So you could have different options. You could maybe sell half at the 1 to 2 and then another half at the max target, or you can keep holding and then hope we get a move like that. It's totally up to you. But generally, you always want to at least aim to take profit at a positive risk reward ratio. And usually a 1 to 1.5 or a 1 to 2 is kind of that sweet spot. All right. So I hope you all learned something from this video, and I'd like to thank you so much for watching.